So, first of all, I'm sure you've heard by now, but we get to have a season. So hopefully you guys are all excited about that. What the season is going to be, the game of softball is going to be the same. The before, the after, some of the during is going to look different. And the biggest thing that we want you guys to know is that we're going to do everything that we can to protect your health, protect our health, and protect the fans' health. We're going to be overly cautious with some things. We just need to feel very fortunate that we are able to play and that we are giving the opportunity to play. I'm going to try to give you as much information as I can here today. I don't have all the answers yet. So you have to just kind of bear with me. And as soon as I get information, I will pass it along. We'll probably have to have another one of these sometime late next week again, when we have a lot more detail, and then what I'm going to tell you here today. So I'm going to just start off by saying we are going to have softball. Okay. We're going to, when practice starts, okay, there will be an app that you guys are going to use that is going to ask you about 5 questions, some general questions that, of course, I don't have it right in front of me, that are going to ask you, do you have a fever? Do you have a cough? Do you have a sore throat, shortness of breath, or have you been in close contact or cared for someone with COVID-19? At any point that you have one of those, and you, depending on how you answer is depending on if we can let you practice or not that way. We are also going to have to take your temperature before you enter the facility every single day. We're actually going to ask that you take your temperature or have your parents take your temperature before you come to practice or games. Just we have to verify it when you guys get there. Okay, there will be a coach that has a scanning thermometer that will take that temperature, and if your temperature is 100.3 or higher, then that's going to be considered a fever, and at that point we would send you home. If you, and we'll go through again this, and I'll remind it again, if you have any of those symptoms, or you have a fever and you recognize it before you come to the facility, then I'm going to ask that you just stay home. And at that point, you're going to send me a text as soon as you decide to stay home. Because then there's a couple of protocols that I have to go through or your coach has to go through, depending on how you answer those questions. So it's going to be something that I really, really need you guys to self-monitor yourself and self-monitor your team. Okay? We have to feel lucky that they're giving us the opportunity to play, and these practices are not only going to keep you healthy, but are going to keep your teammates and your parents and your family healthy as well. Okay, so we've got to really make sure we do a great job of going through these protocols as we learn about them. Will the first few days be a little rocky? It probably will be a little rocky until we kind of get our system down. But just like at any time, we'll figure it out. We'll do the best we can. And we'll have the most success we can when we're doing these things. So that's one of the biggest things that we'll have to fill the form out and take the temperature anytime you're coming to the facility. So if we would have a practice in the morning and a game at night, we'd have to do it before both times. During practice time, we cannot use the dugouts at all. We do a pretty good job of keeping our bags out anyways, but we might even have to spread out even more than just the bullpens. We might have to use both bullpens. We might have to do it down the fence line. We've got to try to have you guys separated as much as we can for as best as we can. If you are unable to drive yourself, your parents obviously are going to drop you off. We don't want your parents coming to the field during practices. They just have to drop you off and pick you up after that. Ideally, you guys all have your own helmets, your own gloves, and your own bat. Okay, if you do not have a helmet, please let me know, and I'll do the best I can to get you one for this year. Okay, if you don't have one, we do not, if at all possible, want you sharing equipment. And now I know some of you might share bats and whatnot. I'm going to leave that up to personal preference. but we're going to ask that you do the best you can to limit the sharing of equipment. We're going to do the best during practices to work on social distancing. We might look that we have some smaller groups doing different things. It might look that we're at different stations. Beginning of practice might look a little bit different. I'm just thinking I might have a group playing catch. I might have a group doing different things at the beginning of practice. So our normal pre-practice stuff might be just a little bit different, but we'll do the best that we can. We will, as coaches, sanitize stuff, and it will be sanitized at the beginning or ready for practice each day. Okay, we have a protocol and procedures that we have to follow. We're also going to ask that you guys sanitize your own stuff. At the end of practice, we have some spray that won't affect your equipment, but we will probably spray it down for you, and then it will be your determinant if you wipe it off. I'll probably send it to the parents and have the parents fill it out, but your parents are going to fill out a pre-existing condition thing for me. I know it's all on your physicals, but it's just easier and faster if parents fill it out. So tell your parents to be on a lookout, and I'll remind them at our parent meeting that we're going to have Tuesday that they need to fill that form out for you guys, just so as coaches we have any know any underlying conditions that you guys have. During practices and games, for that matter, there will be no sunflower seeds, no pistachios, no peanuts, and ideally no spitting going on to help prevent the spread of COVID. The big one, and this one's going to be hard, not hard, but it will be a learning curve, is we cannot provide any water for you guys. Okay, you have to bring your own water and as much water as you think you're going to need throughout a practice. We're going to ask that you don't share water bottles. We're going to ask that you don't share really as much as don't share anything, if at all possible. Okay, so if that means you might need a lot of water during a practice, you're going to have to bring it yourself. You will not have a hose to fill anything up. Water fountains will be closed. Pretty much the only water at the facility will be in the bathrooms. Okay, so you need to make sure that if you want to bring, if you're going to wipe your stuff down after we sanitize it, you'll need to provide your own towel or your own towel during games to wipe sweat off, to clean yourself up. Again, don't share those things if at all possible. Hand sanitizer. We'll have some there, but we're going to ask that each player provides their own hand sanitizer if they feel like they need to. Yeah, we'll have daily sanitations. So that's practices. When games start, the biggest change from practices to games is we're allowed to use the dugout in games. Okay, so we're allowed to use the dugout. Again, there will be no water provided during games. You'll have to bring your own games. Okay, food, we will not, just like normal, you'll have to bring your own lunch or whatever. For food, we ask that you don't share food and share dinners or sandwiches with your teammates. We really want you to have your own stuff, if at all possible, throughout this whole entire time. Let's see what else is different from games. We're going to do our best in dugouts to social distance during games. That means some of you are required to be on the fence, some of you on the benches. We're just going to do the best that we can. Okay, we understand that we're probably not all going to be 6 feet apart, especially in our dugout that's not very big. Okay, but we're going to do the best that we can throughout the whole entire time to make sure you guys are as safe as possible. We're just going to ask, like I said before, that you guys monitor and keep track of your symptoms. And if you think you're experiencing any of them, just please let us know as soon as possible. Okay, just we want to help mitigate this disease and get back to normal as best we can. I think it's a step in the right direction that they're giving us this opportunity. And you guys should feel very fortunate that you're one of the first sports, if not the first sport, to be able to come back to the field in high school athletics. Okay. Iowa was one of the last states to play basketball, and we're one of the first states to bring high school sports back. Okay. So feel very fortunate. If you want to reach out to ESPN, ask them to broadcast our first game. Tell them it's June 15th. That's what I have right now. Okay. Here's a few other details that have just come out here in the last couple of days. I don't have a schedule yet. Okay. I don't, this is the tough one. I don't know if we're playing all levels. 8th graders. Okay. This is a one for you. There will be no actual 8th grade games. Okay. Your season is not canceled. Our thought, we're still figuring out the details. Our plan is that you're still going to have practice. We're still going to have practice with the 8th grade coaches, as long as we're allowed to. And then the thought is that we will sign you up for 2 to 4 tournaments on the weekends to play a weekend tournament. Okay. There's also opportunity that we're going to be able to play the Ankeny Hawks and in kind of like a scrimmage game setting. So there's a couple different things out there. Okay. So your season isn't canceled. We're still going to find you opportunities to play in a JAG uniform because you've earned it. You deserve it. And we want you to make sure you get everything that you guys have worked for. Okay. But I do know there won't be any 8th grade games. Okay. That's the statement I didn't want to make to anybody. But I just might as well, before you hear it from someone else, there won't be any actual 8th grade games. We'll go that way. 9th grade games, we don't know. Okay, there's a couple meetings next week, early next week, and that we'll get some more answers. It's not going to be a full 9th grade schedule like we normally would. I think we had like 36 games scheduled before the 9th grade games, or before this thing happened. We're just not sure. Not every school is going to play 9th grade. So it might be limited where we only have 3 or 4 schools to play, and we just have to keep playing those 3 or 4 schools. JV varsity, as of right now, it's kind of a normal JV varsity situation. I do know that games are going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If we can schedule extra games, we'll try to schedule extra games throughout the week. So right now we're looking at like 24 games. Okay. Varsity wise, they did push this postseason back an entire week. Okay. So the state tournament is actually a week later than what it's tentatively scheduled for. Okay. That means the postseason, that actually is good because it allows us to get probably 6 extra games. Okay. 4 to 6 extra games at the varsity level. I'm going to have a parent meeting on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. I do want you to be there, either logged in by yourself or sitting with your parents during it, because I'm going to have more information on Tuesday night. The parents haven't got that information, but on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock, there's going to be a parent meeting. Hopefully I have a lot more answers by then. The union's supposed to come out with some more guidance on Tuesday for us, and then I can provide that. Schedule wise, we're thinking we'll have a schedule of who we're going to play and when we're going to play, tentatively scheduled by Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll be able to pass that along then. I'll probably plan on having another meeting of some kind, whether it's maybe in person or on Zoom sometime next weekend. To kind of walk through protocols, because our first practice is June 1. Okay, we're a little more than a week away, okay, from our first practice. Before I give some closing remarks, and I know they're out there, so I need you guys to ask them now. One, maybe I haven't thought about them, okay, and I can write them down and figure it out, and I'm going to answer them the best of my ability. But what questions do you guys have? And just go ahead and fire away, because there's no way I didn't miss something.
I'll go first. How are we gonna get to away games? Do you know that?
Great question. Okay. My answer is going to be to be determined. They're waiting for official guidance from the busing company and from the state of how many people we can put on a bus. We're looking at that possibility. We're also looking at the possibility of possibly we might have to drive ourselves to games. Now, if we go to let's say a longer road trip of, use a Fort Dodge, Ottumwa, Mason City example, we would obviously get buses for you guys. But if we're going to be centrally located, they might have us drive ourselves. So good question. I think I forgot to address that one.
I have a question. So do you know, like, if our parents will be able to come watch and, like, will they get to sit in the bleachers and stuff?
Great question. Fans are allowed. Okay. We haven't, we do know fans are allowed. We think it's, as long as they're practicing social distancing, as many fans as we think we can have. I do know our field setup at Centennial, we're not going to drop the entire windscreen. We're probably only going to drop the middle section of the windscreen to allow parents to sit all the way around the field this year, even in the outfield. We're still at our facility going to ask parents come through the main gate, and then they'll have to go out through in between the baseball and softball field. And I know that's kind of a little extra walk, but all of us have been walking more during this COVID, so I think we'll be okay. It's a good question. Yes, so fans will be allowed. And I think allowed in the bleachers to an extent.
For the people who like don't feel safe to come, will we have like a live stream at all or no?
Good question. I'll write it down. One thing I forgot to mention, it's kind of with that. If you and your parents determine that you don't feel comfortable participating in softball for Centennial this year due to the pandemic that's happening, know that that is a decision that we truly respect and honor, and there would be no consequences for future years. Okay, we totally understand that if you do not feel comfortable playing, being around it, being out in it, we totally understand that, and we don't want to require anything that you're not comfortable doing.
Would practices still be the same, like in the morning, like 8 to 11?
If you guys, and the links in, if you continue to use the same practice schedule, we've started working on that for you guys to make sure you see the times. The first week of practice, we have to go at 4 o'clock. Coach Jordan and I have work commitments that we have to go through. So that June 1 through June 1 through June 5th will be at 4 o'clock. Starting on June 8th, we're going to go in the morning for JV varsity stuff. Okay, we'll go at 8 a.m. Now, when I say 8 a.m. practice, you'll see on there it's 7:15 med check. Okay, we obviously only have so many thermometers to get through, so we're going to start taking temperatures at 7:15. Probably at least 45 minutes, unless we figure out that we're a lot better at taking temperatures and it doesn't take us that long. We just don't know right now.
Does that practice schedule go for like 8th and 9th grade too?
It's going to, yes. We're going to try to put it all on there so everybody can see it on there. And we just haven't put a lot of 8th and 9th grade on there yet because we're waiting on some guidance of one, can we use Northview, and are we sharing it with the South, and what time are they going, to make sure we're working with that. But yes, we'll put 8th, 9th JV varsity on there.
Okay.
If you look at it, it's going to be color coded. So I think like 8th grade schedule is going to be orange, green, and then blue is JV varsity, something like that. And that link's in Google Classroom, and I'll make sure I send that out again right after this. Yeah.
Will we get to use the weight room, or will we be using it?
Right now, they are not going to let us in the school to use the weight room during season. July 1 might change, but by then we'll just kind of determine how the season's going and what we think we need.
Hi, girls. How are ya? And I guess a couple dudes in there, Mr. Schoen and Mr. Delaney. Hey, just so you guys understand, I know Mr. Delaney's probably already said this to you, but some of this information is just coming at us in different pieces and different parts from different organizations that govern what we do as a school district. So we just are so happy that we have the ability to do a little bit, that we're just kind of taking things in stride as they come. But to answer your question, Taylor, he answered it perfectly. Right now, there's like a separate piece of all this schools trying to reopen, and that's listed under facility use. And in-building facility use is viewed much different than outside building facility use for obvious reasons, passing germs and whatnot. So anyway, so right now, until July 1st is what they're saying, we can't use any inside facilities. And that's coming from the state, from the Department of Education. So sorry, I basically said what you said, Mr. Delaney, but.
You said it much better.
Well, no, I just don't want anybody to think they're rules that you're making up or I'm making up. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm not making any of this up.
Yeah.
What other questions do you guys have? None? We have, I guess, a week. Okay, and obviously we've been a few months before this, but we start practice in about a week. Okay, so that means in this next week, you've got to start maybe thinking about, all right, I have a season in a week. We haven't had a lot of in-person stuff. We haven't had a lot of required stuff. What can I do to make sure I'm as ready as I can be in a week to start practicing? Okay. One thing that I know I've mentioned to the other coaches is we've had this time away. I'm concerned that some of us are going to come just a little bit not ready, and even coaching wise, not 100% there. And I don't want anybody injured. Okay, especially that first week of practice where we're typically a lot more sore than we normally are anyways. Okay, but we've got to make sure that you are doing stuff. And if you haven't been doing stuff every day, it's probably time to start doing stuff every day. It's going to be your responsibility, and it should have been your responsibility to be as in good a shape as you can be. And I know some of you have been working amazing. Okay, but make sure if you're a pitcher, you're throwing. Okay, we've got to have you guys ready. If you need a partner, reach out to a teammate. Okay, we're at the place where if you feel, most of you are feeling comfortable to work out with different people, even if that means you take your ball and throw it into a fence, okay, or a net or something. Grab mom and dad, grab somebody to shag for you, and do what you guys can with what you have. Okay. It might be for those of you that have just been softball, throwing, catching, fielding type of stuff. Have you been doing some running? Okay. Have you been doing some sprinting? Those type of things. What can you do with this last week of your own time and your own stuff to come ready to go to Fort Dodge? Okay. Well, what can you come ready to do to make an impression so that way we give you as much opportunity? Okay. Obviously our season's limited. Okay. Our games are limited. Practices are limited. All right. So we can only, as coaches, look at what we've seen for those first few weeks of practice. Okay. And so it's going to give us some limited availability of times to look at you guys. Okay. So it's not a typical year is what I'm trying to say. Okay. There's things that are going to happen this year that won't happen hopefully any other year. Okay, we're going to do the best we can as coaches and make the best decisions that we have and can for you guys to make sure that you're successful and you're healthy. Okay, and that we have everybody in the right place and in the program in the right place. Okay, so trust that we're doing all we can and we're doing the best we can in this crazy time, this uncertain time. And if you have any questions, because I'm sure one will pop in your head in like 5 minutes. Okay, go ahead and email it to me. Send it through Remind. Okay, just know that we're here for you guys. Okay, anything that we can do to help you, anything that we can provide to you, that way. I didn't ask this, and I doubt maybe Code or Miss Anderson, any chance that I can have an open field next week before June 1? Do you think? You're on mute.
I doubt it.
I thought that, but
I'm highly doubtful. So we'll go with a no unless you hear different.
right. So just know that we're up there working. We have the batting cages up, ready for day one. The pitching machine's out there. The nets are out there, protective screens. We're gonna get ready that way. Yeah, we'll just do what we can. I'm gonna send an email to your parents right after this that we'll have a parent meeting Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. We're gonna ask that all parents and players are attending there, because to be honest, I'll probably gonna have some more information given to me on Tuesday that I'll be able to share with you guys. Okay, so whether you log in with mom and dad or whether you're by yourself, that's fine too. But even though it says parent meeting, I want you guys to be there so I can give you as updated information as possible.
Yeah, girls, here's the deal. We're getting information daily, hourly, and we're still looking even next week into getting more. That's going to give us more information than our conference. Then if we get state information, then we have to go to the conference level, and then we have to go to the district level. So there's a lot of decision making, like layers. And so we so appreciate your patience, because as soon as we know stuff, we're letting you know. And Coach Delaney's been a great communicator with you guys to keep you guys updated. But this is just a time where everybody's patience are going to be expected, and we appreciate that a lot. So anyway, because we're just happy, right? How excited are you girls? Franny, is that smile happy smile? There we go. That's better. That's better. So anyway.
Like I said during my statement earlier, it's the thing that I didn't want to say is that anybody doesn't get to play a game. Okay, and eighth graders, I understand that. No, we're going to do whatever we can to get you as much opportunity as we can. Okay, we just don't have the answers of what that season is going to currently look like right now. Okay, and I'll share with that as fast as I can. But know that we still are going to have you guys around. We're still going to practice you. We're still going to make you better because ultimately our run at Fort Dodge is hopefully multiple years, and we're going to need you guys too. Okay. So if you have a question and you just don't want to ask it full group and you want to hang around, I'll hang around for a while. It was awesome to see all you guys. Look forward to seeing you on Tuesday night. Look forward to seeing those videos keep coming in of all the work that you're doing. But again, we're a little more than a week away from practice. Okay, we've got to have you as ready as possible to come out in those 2 weeks of practice for our quick season. Okay. If I find out any information in the next 3 days over the holiday weekend, I'll pass it on as fast as I can to you guys. But look for more information during our parent meeting on Tuesday. And thanks for everybody for being here today. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and ask it. Oh, shoot. I should have had Coach Stolte check. We got everybody.
Coach Delaney, do you need the coaches to hang around for anything else?
No. I'm probably going to wait till after I get some more guidance on Tuesday.
Okay.
Just because I don't think I can make 100% decision today. So.
All right. I'm going to go mow the lawn before it rains then. Thank you.
Hey, it's not going to rain. I want to golf.
Hey, Brett, I reached out to the girls' union just to check on the 8th grade thing that we've been talking about, and I haven't gotten any response.
Yeah, we
which
haven't.
I knew they're probably like, just wait. We told you we're going to give you guidance. Be patient and wait for the guidance. But I was antsy and reached out. Did Scott hear anything?
No, not while we were there.
Okay, so we'll see.
Yeah, hold on just a second, Holly.
Yeah.
Stephanie, did you have a question? Or did you just forget to log off because you weren't here the whole time?
And she's gone.
Coach Whiteside, I did ask the question at the meeting today.
Yeah.
And
Question, did you want to stop recording before you?
Yes.